Everybody, how we doing? Darren Starr here, 5-Star Physique. I wanted to do another form fix for you. This time we are going to look at the rack deadlift. Everybody's favorite exercise, right? So why do we do a rack deadlift? You know, a lot of people say, well, this is a great exercise for building the lower back, building spinal erectors. You know, for me, it's all about lat and trap thickness. So it changes our focus on this a little bit. So I'm going to show you a good version and then a bad version and then a good version. And then we're also going to throw in a little cueing technique as well that can help you really get the most out of this. So let's just cut to the chase and go right to it here. We'll zoom in. And you can see, so I'm doing this with a whopping 135 pounds. So when I recorded this, I was definitely off my game on this day. And so what I'm trying to do here is emphasize a little bit more lower back, and I just wasn't really feeling super secure with it, so I went really light. Usually what you'll see when people do it like this is they will go really heavy and they'll pull 400, 500 pounds. Full disclosure, I used to do it that way myself as well. So I've been guilty of this and I've since learned better. So a couple things. So we're getting strapped in here, not really necessary with 135 pounds, but there it is. So first thing you'll notice here, starting position. You can't really see it because of the shorts, but I'm about 2 inches above the knee here. So you can see when I stand up, the range of motion is kind of pathetic, not really coming down much at all. And you can see it's all about a hinge at the hip. I'm actually doing a better job on this than I probably should have to demonstrate bad form, but hey, we're going to roll with it here. The range of motion is embarrassing. It's not anything to get excited about. You can see this rack is very adjustable. It can go a lot lower. And this movement's all about getting the correct height set up. So what we want to do is create a little bit more of a deficit to start with. We want to get a little bit deeper. And then also, it is not about, if I can pause it here, it's not about targeting this lower back area. What it is about is all this stuff right up in here. That's what we want to focus on. So let's look at a better version of this. And so here, doing it with proper form, which actually means starting a little bit deeper. I'm actually going to a more reasonable weight. This is 275 here, which still is not terribly heavy, but you can see right out of the gate. So the pin is kind of in the way. But you can see when I step up to the bar is just below the kneecap, which is a good depth that you want to start from. Now, a word on that. From that position right there, in order to get it set up at the correct height, you may have to do some finagling here, depending on how tall you are, what kind of a rack you have. It is important that you spend the time figuring out how to put together a mechanism that gets you at the correct starting height. So this may mean you set the rack at a certain position, you walk up to it and you realize, oh, I'm just, about an inch too short for this or 2 inches too short for this. So you bring over a couple of 45-pound plates, you stick those flat on the ground and you stand on top of those. There's the extra elevation you need. If you're closer to 4 inches off, you bring over an aerobic step and you stand on that and you get yourself 4 inches of extra elevation using that aerobic step, and then you're at the correct height. But you want that bar, if this is your kneecap right here, you want that bar immediately under it. Like that. So that's what we're looking for as a starting position. Now you'll notice hips are way back to start, chest is up, and here's the big thing. This is the big thing. So the reason I want to go a little bit lighter on this exercise is because I'm trying to target the lats. So you want to squeeze and flare them isometrically from the start. And if you go super heavy, you're going to take the focus from here and shift it down into more of your lower back and hips, which is not what we really want to be hitting with this. So I want you to flare your lats, keep the tension in them to start with. And you can see, it's hard to see tension, but I can tell you I'm feeling it. So the lats are engaged throughout the whole thing. You keep those suckers flared, you keep them tight throughout. Now, one other good thing that we can do here is to throw in a little activation exercise beforehand. So we want to keep the lats activated, so let's activate them before we even get to the rack deadlift. And the way that I like to do that is using a band like this. And we're going to step back. I'm a little out of frame here. And we're just going to row. We're going to do a solid 20 or 30 reps like this. Not super fast, but not super slow. Just trying to, look at the grip. Also, I'm a little underhand here. I'm pulling to about mid-abdominal area there. So it's kind of like I'm doing, you could do a supinated cable row, like an underhand cable row with an easy bar attachment if you don't have bands. Very similar exercise, just lightweight, rep out 20 to 30 quick reps. Use this as an activation exercise. Get the lats awake, get them firing, and then go back to your rack deadlift, get it set correctly. It's already set correctly beforehand, and then get those suckers engaged and pull from there. So this is one where I know it's an exercise where you can go heavy, so the inclination is to do that, but if you lighten the load a little bit, you will find that you can engage and flare your lats, and you get so much more out of this exercise in doing that. So check your ego at the door, like we do for so many other things, and drop the weight down a little bit. Get your lats in this position right here. Get them flared right here. Get them tensed, and then stand up. And what you will notice when you do that, if you load it up with like your 5 rep max lifetime PR weight that you typically would do for a rack deadlift, you won't be able to do that with your lats flared and under tension right at the start of the movement. So check your ego at the door, reduce the weight, get tension in the lats and flare them in the starting position here, and then see how that changes this movement for you.